Hello guys, my name is Kevin and welcome into this new video. Today I'll be talking about how to play a medium tank. When I've just started to play this game, I've imagined the mediums as the most average sort of thingy that you can find. You see, they aren't dealing the largest amount of damage, they aren't the most armored ones, and they aren't the fastest ones. So I simply thought that I couldn't be a freaking special snowflake whilst playing them. But I was greatly mistaken, as they offer you the most diverse gameplay that you can find in this game. You can literally go from Usain Bolt showing down free energy drinks to a what the fuck is that in less than 1 minute. Anyways, now to the tips. First of all, pick your side. You can either go Alliance or the Horde. Just kidding, we are playing World of Tanks today. Still, majority of the maps are halfly made of field and halfly made from towns. Fields are usually filled with tanks with high camouflage values, so TDs and lights, whilst towns are filled with well-armored heavies. But mediums can go pretty much wherever they want and wherever they are needed, thanks to their mediocre stats. Well, this works up to tier 8, because the tier 8 is the highest possible tier for lighties. Not that you won't see any lighties anymore, but the fields aren't gonna be overflowing with them. Because of this, Wargaming made all mediums perform better on fields than in towns. With the only exception being the E53 thanks to its high amounts of armor. Second tip is gonna be let your gun sink. No, not like that. You may have low alpha damage, but your reload is short, thus your damage per minute is off the charts. This way, as long as you can keep firing, there's no enemy that can overpower you in fight. On field, it's kinda easy to do that, as you can find some high ground position from where you can shoot everywhere, or some good hold down position where enemies just can't penetrate you. But in town, it's a little bit more challenging, as here you get no bumps and hills, and just a big flat area. So how are you gonna do that? Well, in town you can let your gun sink by our third tip, which is called aggressive gameplay. Go big or go home. This is the golden rule of all medium tanks. If the enemy can put a shell into you, put 2 or even 3 into them. Full Harambe? Why not? Go ham? Oh hell yeah! Leroy Jenkins? Don't mind if I do. Just look at this guy. He went even freaking full Cthulhu on his enemies and still came out victorious. Don't be afraid of your enemies and push. 90% of the time you will win. And those 10 that you won, the enemy must have had a shitload of support or that random guy playing clicker heroes on base. There's seriously a guy called Train Station protecting Train Station. Fourth tip is gonna be always try to surprise your enemies.
Surprise, motherfucker!
This may either mean flanking them or using some dumbass route that they simply won't expect. You know how there's in every single game that one class designed to flank? Well, in World of Tanks, it's the medium tank. Always try to find a different route and engage the enemy from side or maybe even the rear. Must resist the urge. This way, they will be caught in a crossfire, and even the heaviest of targets will be slowly torn apart as they can't angle towards multiple targets. And if you got a map with absolutely no town part, use the hills for God's sake. You're fast and small enough to climb them, unlike nearly all of the heavies, as well as your gun can penetrate even the fronts of your unsuspecting targets. Well, unless you're shooting a goddamn Type 4 heavy. Fifth tip is going to be become a vegan and start praising German engineering. Just kidding, I only wanted to put this thing into the video. Alright, now to the real fifth tip. You gotta use your strengths and weaknesses. You see, with being the most versatile class comes a big drawback. An E50M player simply won't be capable of playing Skoda, no matter how hard he tries to. Yeah, I know, this is the kind of thing that you should use at each and every single one of the classes. But mediums have it the hardest of all. Just compare Type 5 Heavy and Mouse. There ain't much of a difference. Both are big indestructible fortresses. Now compare STB to E50M. They are two entirely different tanks. On one side, E50M's armor is thick enough to be played as a heavy. On the other side, STB's armor is just a piece of well-folded origami. Simply said, you, more than any other class in a game, need to find and learn how to use your strengths. If you won't be capable of using them, you will end up using your weaknesses instead. And you know, having an STB in town trying to angle can be compared only to one thing: sushi. Dead and already served to its enemies. My sixth and last tip is gonna be never follow the Lemming train. If you don't know what Lemming train is, I'll gladly explain it to you. It is a situation when crushing majority or even entirety of your team gets on one flank, leaving the rest of the flanks open. But it sounds as a great threat, no? You will crush half the enemy team, losing no one, and then you will overpower the rest of the team by sheer numbers. Well, no. On lower tiers it might be kinda useful as they don't know how to counter it. Unlike in higher tiers, where they will start camping, side-scraping, and I don't know what else, as they know that the Lemming train will have to push, otherwise they'll be flanked. And once they'll try to push, the entire Lemming train will be lost to 3 well-angled E100s. So no, it's not a great strat. Lemming train is incredibly hard to predict, as at the start of the battle, majority of your team will be just wiggling around the base or just AFKing, so you simply got no idea where or not the Lemming train is going to form. In fact, even greater players at a game, such as Quickie Baby or the Mighty Jingles, can get caught in some landslide of a Lemming train. But why did I not mention this tip in my other guides? Well, it's because heavy tanks and TDs are just way too slow to leave the Lemmings, and they'll be caught in the middle of the field, and you know what happens next. Whilst light tanks are all about getting to a good spot at the start of the battle, leaving it will cause them to be nearly entirely useless for the rest of the battle. This leaves the medium as the only class that can happily leave the Lemming train without getting big penalties for doing so. They might lose some bushes, but they are mediums, they can just use some closer to the base. There are still plenty of useful bushes in the field, you know. Anyways, hope you don't mind that I'll end the video right here, cause you don't know the torture that I had to go through.